After a long wait, the Honor 9X is finally here in India. However, instead of using the Kirin A10 SoC, you get the Kirin 710F inside the 9X. Now, the reason for this is because thanks to the ongoing US-China trade war, Honor cannot activate Google Play services on its new chipsets, which is the Kirin A10. What a pity. Having said that, most of the other specs are intact, and I'm most interested in the Sony IMX582 and the kind of pictures that it can capture. And you know what? Just to make this more fun, obviously, we've decided to do a camera comparison against the Realme X2 and, of course, the Redmi Note 8 Pro. So you know what, my name is Ershad. Let's get down to this video without wasting any more time and find out how the Honor 9X compares against the Realme X2 and the Redmi Note 8 Pro. But yes, before we move on, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever Mr. Phone puts out an awesome new tech video. But before we move on, let's quickly take a look at a comparison chart of all the camera specs of the three phones. Alright, so let's start off with a regular daylight scene of a set of buildings. All the three phones do a fairly good job of detail retention at 100% crop. I couldn't find any major differences when I pixel peeped. However, the Redmi Note 8 Pro does a better job of corner sharpness. The Note 8 Pro also aces the dynamic range control. It picks out a lot of details from the shadows, whereas the other two phones struggle. My biggest concern with the Realme X2 is the comically exaggerated saturation levels. The post-processing is a little out there and definitely not my style. The Honor 9X looks a little muted and crushes the shadows too. Moving on to the high resolution images, the details are aplenty on all the three images, but the noise around the corners on the Note 8 Pro is a little too high. The noise correction is great on the Realme X2 though. The Honor 9X tends to overdo the processing and creates a watercolor effect on the corner. All things considered, I'd go for the Redmi Note 8 Pro as my safe pick of the three phones. In our ultra-wide testing, I took a direct shot to check for barrel distortion correction around the edges. It is the best on the Realme X2, followed by the Redmi Note 8 Pro and the Honor 9X. If you move your attention to the building on the right, in the Honor 9X sample, you will see that it is slightly curved. Similarly, in the Note 8 Pro sample, you can see some edge distortion on the left. Anyway, the Realme X2 continues to do some oversaturating that looks very garish. As for the details, the Note 8 Pro and the Honor 9X are on par, and the Realme X2's picture looks soft. So here's the thing, while the Realme X2 and the Redmi Note 8 Pro come with dedicated macro cameras, the Honor 9X doesn't have one. Therefore, I have skipped the test for macros, but I took the primary cameras as close as the autofocus could manage. The first picture of this gleaming orange flower is most accurate on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. The gradients and the details are also far better resolved on the Note 8 Pro shot. Realme's oversaturated representation of the flower is rather unappealing. Honor 9X has done a good job too, but I would have infused more life in the colors. The second picture in this test is to take a look at the capability of the cameras to capture the color red. Evidently, none of the cameras managed to capture it right. The Realme X2 is the worst of the lot as it has made it pink and garish. So overall, I'll go with the Redmi Note 8 Pro with the Honor 9X as my second pick. For some reason, the Honor 9X doesn't have an auto HDR option, and you will have to use the HDR mode separately for better dynamic range. However, even after using the HDR mode, the Honor 9X doesn't look as good as I'd like it to. The dullness of the whole image was a recurring trend, unfortunately. On the gradient curve, the Note 8 Pro has far better control over the highlights and the shadows. The high saturation levels of the Realme X2 continue to miff me. I think the camera algorithm engineers really need to relook at the color processing. While the macro sensor is missing on the Honor 9X, there is a depth sensor for sure. So how does that affect portrait pictures? Well, you get excellent edge detection and the facial tones are great too. It is second only to the Redmi Note 8 Pro. I'm really not a fan of the facial tones on the Realme X2's portrait, and the edge detection could have been better too. By the way, you can not only use the portrait mode, but you can also use the aperture mode on the 9X to adjust focal length on the fly, which is also possible on the other two phones. Alright, let's take selfies now, shall we? When it comes to details and the overall dynamic range, the Realme X2 is definitely better. But once again, the algorithm is on crack when you look at the color reproduction. It's oversaturated beyond measure. The color of my jacket was definitely not that blue. You might like it, but I definitely don't. I really like the Redmi Note 8 Pro selfie instead, despite the excessive oversharpening at close crop. But considering no one is going to pixel peep selfies, I guess it's fine. Honor 9X's selfies look realistic to a certain extent, but the colors are washed out again. That said, I like the fact that the 9X has a wider aperture and therefore you can fit in more friends in the frame. The result is the same when you look at selfie portraits. The Note 8 Pro offers an excellent cutout, plus the selfie looks great as well. The Honor 9X can shoot a max of 1080p 60fps footage, whereas the Realme X2 and the Redmi Note 8 Pro can both do 4K. In our testing, you can see that the Realme X2 is the only phone that offers stabilization. You will have to live with the cropped footage, but that is a fair trade-off. Surprisingly, when shooting videos, Realme doesn't oversaturate too much and the footage looks damn crisp and attractive too. When it comes to sound recording, the Note 8 Pro's mics don't do noise cancellation, whereas both the Honor 9X and the Realme X2 offer NC. However, with NC, my voice sounds slightly robotic.
60fps video using the Honor 9X and the Realme X2 as I walk and show you guys how the stabilization is, how is the image quality and my sound recording as I'm recording from behind right now, and how the mics can capture and around and change the light source.
To sum it up, I'd pick the Realme X2 hands down for shooting videos. Moving to videos shot using the front camera, the Realme X2 offers image stabilization, therefore it ends up cropping a lot of the image. However, the footage looks very stable. The picture quality is different on all the three phones, but the highlights on my face are blown out on the Realme X2's footage. I like what the 9X and the Redmi Note 8 Pro have managed to create here. Overall, I can't really pick a winner, but I'm slightly more inclined towards the 9X here because of the good sound, good details and great facial tone. The stabilization is second only to the Realme X2.
Alright, so now I'm shooting at 1080p 30fps footage using the Honor 9X and the Realme X2 as the sun falls behind me, and you can for sound quality, image quality and image stabilization as I pan around slightly and show you guys what happens when the dynamic range changes and what it looks slightly to show you guys what it can do when the light's on me and how that looks overall.
Coming to indoor selfies, we see the three extremes of processing images. The Honor 9X crushes the shadows and creates a dark mood, plus the details are soft. The Note 8 Pro has an excellent dynamic range on the face with great facial tones too. The selfie looks crisp when you view it on a regular smartphone/laptop screen. But when you look at the 100% crop, you will clearly see that the Xiaomi's algorithm has over-sharpened the selfie a lot. The Realme X2 has natural details and true-to-life color reproduction, which obviously makes it the best indoor selfie of the three, which is surprising considering it had weird colors in outdoors. Now, if you use the rear camera indoors, the Honor 9X has picked the wrong white point and the color temperature is off, but the details start deteriorating when you move away from the center. Honor's algorithm does some heavy noise reduction algorithm to soften the details. For example, you can take a look at the bookshelves. The text on the books are the clearest on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. The X2 retains details in favor of noise. The Note 8 Pro has the best balance and color temperature too. Overall, the Note 8 Pro's picture is the best with the X2 following right behind it. Moving on to the low light samples, it is evident that the Redmi Note 8 Pro captures better colors, details and has more exposure on offer. Realme's picture looks good, but it is too oversaturated. Honor's is just too soft. With night mode on, the situation improves for Honor, but the resulting image is still soft on details compared to the Redmi Note 8 Pro. The 9X tends to boost colors even more and use aggressive noise correction too with, night mode on. I really like how the Note 8 Pro does processing in low light. Here, take a look at a couple more low light samples plus the night mode options before I move on to the next one. With the flash on, the Realme X2 has the most powerful throw. Yes, it botches up the color temperature, but a slight correction in post can fix the problem for you guys. So no worries there. Once again, in low light selfies, the Realme X2 has a clear upper hand thanks to the night mode. My concern with the X2's selfie is the white balance issue, but then again, you can easily fix that in post. What you can't fix though is the excellent low light sensitivity, algorithm based exposure bump and the pure details on offer, which is why the Realme X2's low light selfie is absolutely incredible. When it comes to photos using selfie flash, only Redmi Note 8 Pro uses a warm screen flash. It makes the whole selfie look way better than the other two. Realme has blown out the highlights on the face and Honor has underexposed the jacket area. So I will pick the Redmi Note 8 Pro as the best in this round.
So we're at the end of the comparison, and how does the Honor 9X fare? Well, what I feel is that the Sony IMX582 inside the 9X actually gives you detailed photographs, no doubt, but the camera algorithm tends to prefer muted tones.
Now, in comparison, I still prefer the muted tones on the 9X compared to the oversaturated mess that is the Realme X2. However, having said all of that, the best camera almost, for most situations out there, even today, is the Redmi Note 8 Pro under rupees 20,000. And you know what, if you want to take great videos, then I would suggest that you pick up the Realme X2. Although during the initial sale where the price of the Honor 9X has been dropped by quite a bit, I think that it shouldn't be much of a problem for you to consider it. I think that you can pick it up even for its camera performance. But when the sticker price goes up and the deals are over, and when it is competing directly against the Redmi Note 8 Pro and the Realme X2 and even something like the likes of the Mi A3, those might be better camera phones overall. So what do you guys think? Do let me know in the comment section below. That is our camera comparison of the Honor 9X against the Realme X2 and the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Until next time, this is Ershad from Mr. Phone signing off. Goodbye and Godspeed, my friends.